Good morning, guys. Yes, I'm having a bit of a laugh actually. I've just done maybe 10 minutes of a video that I forgot to push the record button. Okay, joke over. Just going to give you a little insight of the things I'm now into my last 7 days of my month's Omad fasting diet. And I've noticed a lot of things going on with my body over the past 3 weeks that I want to share with you guys, and I want to make sure that you understand how this works, because a lot of people could get disheartened with this and throw their arms in the air and give up the ghost. All I'm saying to you is, when you start your whatever diet you're going to do, don't only just take your weight, okay? Do the measurements as well. Measure your arms, measure your chest, measure your waist, your hips, your legs. Measure all of those. And the women, their calf muscles as well, you know. So take measurements, okay? And there is a good reason for why I'm saying this, is the scale doesn't actually give you a true picture. So this is going to be quite an interesting video for you guys, because this is what I've noticed my body go through over the first 3 weeks of this Omad diet. Now, when I first started this Omad diet, I've gone into a 23-hour fast with a 1-hour window. The first 3 days are absolutely excruciating. The times I thought, well, this is not for me. And by the end of the first week, I was pretty much going to be throwing my arms in the air and say, I've had enough. But simple thing going on here. Your body, its primary source of energy is sugar, glucose. And every time you eat, especially sugary foods, you know, which a lot of foods do have, because we're looking at taste here. People don't eat anything unless it's tasty, and the only two things that give something taste is either sugar or fat. So, you know, at the end of the day, you've heard the old adage, or you've got to have a steak that's got lots of mottled fat in it, because they're the tastiest and they're the most succulent. There you go, prime example. And also you'll get things like cereals, breakfast cereals, packed full of sugar. You'll get soft drinks, packed full of sugar. Juices, usually added sugar. And that's to give it the taste, the palatable thing where you go, oh, I like that, I'll have some more. And it's this ploy is all sugar, and that's what you try and get out of. Because what you're trying to do is give your body another type of fuel to survive on. Now, back in the day when we were hunter-gatherers, we didn't have sugar. Sugar was only done in a natural form. So in other words, you kill something, you eat it, that's where you're getting your sugars from. Or you pick a piece of fruit off a tree, or you gather berries or whatever, and there was your sugars. So your body had to be able to adapt to different forms of fuel. Because let's say in the winter you can get plenty of sugar things through the summer, berries, fruits, nice vegetables, etc. And also things like honey they used to gather, you know, all those sweet things that they got hold of during the summer. But during the winter they were living off fat, and that's pretty much how it worked. So they were able to switch from one to another. Now in this day and age, big difference is we don't go without eating food, because we can get food wherever we want, whenever we want, and we can have as much as we want. So we never get these lean times or these times of shortage, and this is where the problem lies. When you eat a lot of sugary foods, you produce insulin. Now insulin is quite a decent thing, but it can also be quite a hard thing for you to get rid of. Diabetics have a problem with insulin, especially overweight people. You start, you know, the insulin doesn't do its job properly. You become insulin dependent, or you become insulin deficient, and that's where the problem lies. But the job of insulin is to convert the sugars into energy and feed your cells and your brain. But the problem lies is when the insulin has done all that job and it can't feed the cells anymore because they're all full, it has another job, and its job is to store it, and it stores it as fat. There it goes. It gets put on. Okay, it stores it on the body. And this is where your problem lies. So your ideal scenario is to stop this insulin from doing it, and this is where your fasting comes in. When you fast for 23 hours or 16 hours, whatever your fasting window is, you lower your insulin level. In other words, you're trying not to kick insulin into play. So then your body has to find another source of energy. And this is when it produces ketones. And ketones convert body fat into glucose through a chemical reaction, and that's what your body feeds on. Now, your first week is when you're converting yourself to come off of sugars and you're going on to fat. This is where your problem lies. When your sugar starts decreasing, your body doesn't like it, and it craves you to eat something. It's craving you to do it, and this is where your problem is. You're like an addict coming off of heroin. You're going to crave it. You're going to crave food. You're going to crave it all the time, and that first week is the worst ever. But once your body realizes it ain't going to get its own way, it converts to start using fat. Now, when it does that, things get a lot easier, because it doesn't have to crave food because there's plenty of it, you know. So this is what I'm saying. Give it over a week, guys, because this is where it happens. Now, the first stage that you will go through is you'll start losing body fluid, retain water, etc. So you'll get quite a big weight loss. You know, you will actually lose weight, but that's a lot of body fluids being, dissipated. So that will help with the size difference and what have you. But then you will start. It slows down a bit because now it's beginning to feed off of dead cells, damaged cells, etc., and you're producing now a growth hormone, which actually replenishes those dead cells and dying cells with new, stronger cells. So that sort of you plateau off a bit. Then you'll start losing a bit of weight again, but then something else happens. Because you've now replaced most of your dead cells and dying cells and what have you, you will start gaining body mass through a growth hormone. Now, this growth hormone produces muscle. So you start replacing muscle loss, and if you don't work out or whatever, you start losing muscle mass, etc. So this will be replacing muscle mass. Now, the problem we go there is, if you're relying on the scales, this is where things are going to go wrong, because you'll think, I'm not losing any weight, I'm doing all this work and nothing's happening. And that's because you're replacing muscle mass. Now, muscle is actually denser and heavier than fat. So this is where your problem lies. Bear with me 2 seconds. It produces muscle mass, and this is denser and fat and heavier than fat. So you go through a stage of you're not losing any weight, or you might gain a pound. So don't throw your legs in the air and say this is not working. This is where the measurements come in. This is where you now see that you're not losing weight, but your measurements are getting smaller. Scratch your head. This is your answer. So don't just look at the scales. Look at the actual physical effect it's having on yourself by checking your measurements. Keep checking your measurements. If they're still going down, but you're not losing weight, your answer is you're putting on body mass. Now, muscle mass has a really good effect, because obviously the more muscle you have, the more energy it burns. So the more muscle that you have will be better for getting rid of this. So the more muscle mass that you put on will help with the more fat that it's taking off. So it's counteracting, but it's a benefit in the long run, because you will actually burn more fat with the more muscle that you've gained. So just hang it out, guys. I've gone through a phase where I've been 10 pounds for the past 5 days now, but now I've seen a pound loss. So it's still doing it, but my measurements have got smaller, So don't just look at the scales. The scales can lie. Also take your measurements. That is the important thing to keep you on track. Just doing it by the scale alone doesn't tell you the full story. Take your measurement readings as well. That will give you a much better picture of what's going on, and it will give you an insight of that, yes, I'm still on track, things are still going well. And this is where people fall over, because they think this is not working for me, I'm not losing any weight, and they give up. This is why I say take the measurements as well, because you can still see the results while you're not gaining or putting on weight. You can still see a result, that the actual result that you was looking for, in other words, gets smaller, losing this gut, losing your man boobs, which, to be quite honest with you now, I've lost, so I'm delighted. This is still happening, even though I'm not losing off the scale. So just bear that in mind, guys. All right, so that's just a thing that I've picked up in 3 weeks. I hope this helps you. I hope it keeps you on track, because believe me, it is just a step the way the body is converting. 3 weeks in, your body's still going through a big change, and you need to give it chance to do its thing. All right, try and subscribe to this channel, guys, because I'm going to try and keep you updated with all these little things that I come across from time to time. I will post them, so you'll be able to keep yourself in the know, and give us a thumbs up. Be great. Subscribe, thumbs up, and hit the bell notification, and it'll tell you when I've uploaded a new one. All the best, guys, and keep it going. Good luck to you.